Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. April already. Wow. Tim Dillon is one of my favorite comedians, and as I've said in the past, and I'll continue to say, he's eventually going to step on a landmine, and I'm going to distance myself from Tim Dillon so fast. I'm going to be like, I never said Tim Dillon was funny. You crazy? Especially since he said that thing. It's going to happen. The Guardian asked Tim Dillon, how'd you get into comedy? Tim said, I was a child actor and I failed. It was embarrassing and shameful. I felt as if I had let down my parents who wanted to retire off my winnings as an actor, except there were none. I took a long break from that and eventually got back into comedy at 25. How would you describe your style of comedy? Dark and a bit silly. That is a good description. I think people need to laugh at the world, and the world is crazier than ever. I think I put that through a filter that helps it make more sense. The Guardian was curious if he has any pre-show rituals. Dillon said, I'm not placating the British here, but I like tea. I'm not being patronizing, but I have a cup of Earl Grey before every show. He's like Captain Picard. It's in my writer and it's in all of my green rooms. I have a cup of tea and chill out. I like a bit of solitude before show, nothing too crazy. His best heckle he was asked about. A couple got up in the middle of my show and walked out and said, we're leaving because we're going to go have sex. I can't compete with that. That was in Greenwich Village at a bar where I did shows all the time. I said, well, that's probably more productive than what I'm doing. Pet peeves from the world of stand-up? Tim said, I don't like it when a host asks if it's anyone's birthday or if anyone's celebrating anything because I don't care. Strangest fan encounter. I had someone follow me into a hotel I was staying at and get in the elevator to tell me they were a big fan. They said, I followed you for 2 blocks. And I said, oh, you're not staying at the hotel? And they said, no, I'm a fan. It's very strange when someone tells you that in an enclosed space. Best advice, don't overestimate your worth. Worst advice, you can do anything you put your mind to. Tim Dillon, American royalty in Manchester, Glasgow, and London, April 4th through the 7th. The Daily Beast wrote a punchy article with the headline, Comedians Line Up to Help RFK Jr.'s Misinformation Campaign. They write, from Rogan to Bill Maher, Kennedy's hosts have been a who's who of comedy's biggest cranks. It just so happens that some of them are also incredibly popular artists with highly engaged fan bases. There's Andrew Schultz, who in his 2020 Netflix special blamed the pandemic on dirty Chinese people, quoting from the Daily Beast here, and in 2021 persuaded an LA theater to waive its vaccine requirement for shows. There's Tim Dillon, the former subprime mortgage broker and current 9/11 truther, who has lately embraced the white nationalist Great Replacement conspiracy theory, hosted Alex Jones, praised the white nationalist writer Steve Saylor, stoked the moral panic over trans people, and questioned the efficacy of COVID vaccines and masks. I listen to Tim's pod every week. I think the writer here is missing the comedy that Tim is doing. Tim can speak for himself, but I don't find him to be a 9/11 truther in the least, or I would not listen to him. I also don't find him embracing the white nationalist Great Replacement theory, or I would not listen to him. Did he have Alex Jones on? If he did, I skipped the episode on purpose. And stoking the moral panic over trans people, I'm not sure about that either. The Daily Beast writes, he was also banned from Airbnb in 2021 for threatening to burn down his host's home over a cleaning fee, but that's neither here nor there. I have heard Tim tell that story. I don't know how accurate the version he tells is or not. Back to RFK, the Daily Beast writes, there's Dave Smith, the anti-vaccine Libertarian Party activist who has also embraced the Great Replacement theory, praised Nazis, demonized trans people, argued that drunk sex can't be rape, and said that American Jews should be grateful to the United States for allowing them to flourish. There's Theo Von, who recently sat down for amiable chats with Tucker Carlson, featuring misinformation about the polio vaccine, and a former Border Patrol chief, featuring violent anti-immigration rhetoric. Kennedy has even found a friendly ear in Whitney Cummings, who has spent recent years arguing that comedians are supposed to be scumbags, and who lived up to her promise by mocking trans women in her latest stand-up special. In Kennedy's conversation with Tim Dillon, RFK described the anti-vax label as pejorative, intended to marginalize and silence him. Daily Beast writes, on Vaughn's This Past Weekend podcast, he agreed with the host's false claim that the polio vaccine ended up giving cancer to a lot of women. On Howie Mandel's podcast, he insisted he's not anti-vaccine before acknowledging that he never got the COVID-19 vaccine and falsely claiming again that vaccines cause autism. He told Mandel, I'm not saying all autism is caused by vaccine. I'm saying that vaccines definitely, are largely responsible for the epidemic that we saw begin in 1989. He made the same argument to Bill Maher, who argued that this position is not unreasonable. Dave Smith had Kennedy on his podcast to debate his position on Israel, telling Kennedy, you're so great on Ukraine, you're so great on the vaccine, why can't you be great on this? Theo Von mostly stuck to questions about his other campaign positions, while Bobby Lee mostly asked about his relationship with Cheryl Hines. Cummings only touched the vaccine issue in a rambling pre-interview speech that concluded with the message, let's be honest with ourselves, no one knows anything. Interesting stuff there. I've listened to a few RFK interviews. I find him easy on the ears. Now you're like, don't you hear what his voice sounds like? I understand he has vocal challenges, but like I like a podcast that doesn't yell and scream. That's why I like Rogan. I can just kind of zone out to Rogan. I actually prefer Rogan's interviews more than the comedians, because with the comedians, sometimes they'll get a little louder. I often have, insomnia is a little strong, but like I'll wake up in the middle of the night. It takes me a full hour and a half to go back to sleep. So I'll wind up listening to a podcast to kind of wind back down. And I find Rogan good for that in the middle of the night. So I've heard a bunch of these RFK interviews. I disagree with a lot of his positions, but I enjoy listening to him speak, if that makes sense. Comedian Brian Simpson believes Tom Brady could run for president and win. I think, yeah. Here's your choices. Trump, Biden, RFK Jr., Tom Brady. That Brady button's going to be pretty attractive there. Tell me who his VP candidate is, and I'll look at it. Simpson did caution that the quarterback is likely to lose the swing state of Georgia. That's a joke about the Super Bowl. Simpson said the best way to ensure Tom Brady gets into the White House is by making sure 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan is his opponent. Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons in that famous Falcons loss in the Super Bowl where Brady brought the Patriots back. Simpson said he'd only lose in Georgia. Brady could run as a Republican and we could get Kyle Shanahan to run as a Democrat. He'll definitely beat him. He then suggested Vice President LeBron James as Brady's running mate, suggesting they have such a fan following that nobody in America could match. Well, I can think of somebody who could match. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift versus Tom Brady. I think Taylor might take that election. You know who made a joke about Taylor Swift one time? Joe Coy. Yeah, it was vicious. So what was happening was Joe Coy was hosting the Golden Globes. And boy, wait till you hear this vicious joke he made about Taylor Swift.
As you know, we came on after a football doubleheader. The big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, on the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift. I swear.
Taylor was having none of that and basically murdered Joe Coy's career. Joe Coy recently spoke to I-95, and he was asked if he would host the Golden Globes again. He said, I ain't scared to do anything. The risk is the best part of life. I could say I did it. It's a crazy gig, but who else would do it? Like I said, Chris Rock called me and said the same thing. They offered it to him, and he turned it down. I saw the opportunity. It was 83 years that they've had this award show. Never, not once, did they offer it to an Asian comedian or anybody to host it solo, and that was my opportunity, and I took it. You know, when you get Seth Meyers, Jamie Foxx, Jimmy Kimmel, Steve Martin, they all understood the complexity of that gig. It's like, you know, I bash it over the head. I'm damned if I do it, damned if I don't mention anything. It's like, bro, I took the gig in less than a week and a half. You know what I'm saying? Everybody turned it down. I want to take that risk and go for it. I saw an opportunity. I went for it. You know, that's what happened. So if I could explain the situation, you'd understand. If I kept on going, it sounds like whatever. Joe said, when you see the cuts, you're not really seeing the entire situation. If you want to see it, it's like, oh, cool, he's performing in a food court at a mall. What a gig. He's in front of Baskin & Robbins. There's a sale on peppermint ice cream. Like, legit, it was pure chaos. It's literally the only award show where they're eating lobster and drinking wine. You know what I'm saying? It's the craziest thing, but no one knows that. You see the Oscars and you're like, I don't understand what's happening. It's like, okay, put a lobster tail on every single lap and 6 bottles of Moet. Know what I mean? You hear clanging forks and butter falling, and it's like, what's going on? If you'd like to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/daily comedy news. You can join the $2 club and just, every month you hit your credit card and $2 will come to the show. And by the show, I mean me, just being honest, but it's a nice way to support the show. Follow my Substack. Sign up for free, mcdpod.substack.com. That link is in the show notes. When you go there, it's going to ask you to make a donation or sign up for the paid version. There's no paid version, but I just have to set it up that way. Just sign up for free. mcdpod.substack.com. That's where I share thoughts on the media. It is Comedy Month. That's right. The 800-pound gorilla is having Worldwide Comedy Month. That month is April. And Clown Jules has joined Comedy Month. They'll be releasing material from Red Fox, the Smothers Brothers, Gilbert Gottfried, Jonathan Winters, and Jackie Gleason. The Best of Red Fox Show, Volumes 1 and 2, April 12th. The Best of the Jackie Gleason Show, Volumes 1 and 2, April 19th. And a newly curated album from Gilbert Gottfried called Still Screaming, that one on April 30th. That's awesome. Meanwhile, the 800-pound gorilla has fleshed out their release calendar. Let's take a look. You got a pen? A lot going here. Today, David Cross, Worst Daddy in the World. Tomorrow, Kyle Kinane, Dirt Nap. Who loves Kyle Kinane? I do. On the 3rd, Michael Yo's I Never Thought. On the 4th, Angela Johnson-Reyes, Say I Won't. On the 5th, Evo Graham, live from the Bloomsbury Theater. On the 6th, Kurt Braunohler, Perfectly Stupid. On the 7th, you get to rest. I mean, there's only so much comedy you can do. On the 8th, Eric D'Alessandro's I Don't Understand. On the 9th, Monty Franklin, live from Sydney. On the 10th, I hope you rested on the 7th, because on the 10th, you get Dina Warchi's Toxic But Safe and Jimmy Shin's upcoming special. On the 11th, Matt Rife. On the 12th, Dan Rath's I'm Not Doing Well, Folks. Also, the Red Fox Show, Volume 1 and 2. On the 13th, Ben Roy's Hyena. 14th, Matt Bronger's Doug. 15th, Adam Clayton Holland's Wallpaper. 16th, Mark Ford Presents. 17th, Hari Kondabolu's Vacation Baby. 18th, Modi, Know Your Audience. 19th, Kelsey Cook, The Hustler. Also, the release of the Jackie Gleason Show, Volume 1 and 2. The 20th, Vidora B. R. Monsoon Season. The 21st, Mike Britt's Check the Mic. The 22nd, Greg Warren, The Salesman. The 23rd, Mo Welch, Dad Jokes. The 24th, Joe Zimmerman's Cult Classic. The 25th, Mike Vecchione's The Attractives. The 26th, Nick Offerman, American Ham. The 27th, Jake Rush, Overwhelmingly Neutral. The 28th, Sam Campbell, Companion. The 29th, Sashir Zamata's The First Woman. And the 30th, Tom Allen's Absolutely Live. Johnny Mac, why did you read 30 days of stuff to us? Because I was away all weekend and I wanted to pre-tape today. Plus, it's cool. All right, let's see who's in Melbourne today. Now I really have to do some math. Okay, it's whatever day I recorded this. And then you're listening April 1st, except somebody's in Melbourne where it's tomorrow. So April 2nd, this gets so confusing. Plus, the Aussies, they do their calendars Monday to Sunday. You know, us Americans, we do Sunday to Saturday on a calendar. So Tuesday's not even where Tuesday's supposed to be. All right, let's see what we got here. Trash Test Dummies Circus. Here are 3 guys in construction hats. Everybody put your bins out. Tonight's bin night, and the Trash Test Dummies are on duty with side-slipping slapstick comedy, daring acrobatics, and dexterous juggling. These dummies are off on an imaginative adventure that's anything but garbage. With ballet and balloons thrown in for good measure, this fast-paced hour of adept, unadulterated mischief delivers a dump truck full of hilarity. All right, that's fun. Hannah Gadsby, we know who that is. There's even a clip. Let's listen.
I'm genuinely excited to be here. It's been a minute for me to be at the festival. Happy to be back. When they phoned me to ask me to host, I said yes, of course. What an honour. But it is also very confusing. Like, I'm not a natural host. Like, I've killed the vibe already. Like, I am aware of this. Don't worry. Like, a host is supposed to be warm and, like, naturally buoyant. This is me trying.
That was fun. Let's get out there. And that's your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. And I'll see you tomorrow.